Today, we are going to talk about a very interesting, perhaps overlooked, and even at times taboo spiritual concept. What if I told you that there's a way to awaken Kundalini energy within somebody else? Not through years of meditation, not through yoga practice, but literally through your own fingertips. Now, this isn't some abstract theory. It is a real spiritual practice that I and many other spiritual practitioners have done before. And today in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can do this as well, responsibly and with care. So before we get into this, let's quickly clarify a few key concepts. Kundalini energy is the life force energy that lies coiled at the base of your spine. Now, you might have heard it described before as a serpent energy, and that is true. But really, this Kundalini energy is in all people and animals alike. Basically, in any being that is sentient with a nervous system and with energy centers. It is specifically tied to the human and animal subtle body because it works through these systems to awaken higher states and forms of consciousness. Now, this is not the same with plants or with nature. Plants and the natural world are alive with a different form of energy, prana or life force energy, and they simply don't have the complex coiled Kundalini mechanism that is waiting to rise. So, this process really is unique to sentient beings with complex energetic and nervous systems. Now, when this Kundalini energy or serpent energy awakens, it travels up your spine through energy centers that we call chakras, unlocking higher states of awareness, also healing, and definitely dormant power. Now, here's something that is really interesting, and that is that not everybody can awaken this energy within themselves. Some people might need a little help or perhaps just a little push, and that is where this practice comes in. So, what does higher awareness actually mean? This means that you are breaking out of unconscious patterns, and these are patterns that keep you stuck in your current circumstances. Instead of running on autopilot, where you are reacting to emotions, habits, and programming, you start to observe them. Now, this means that you see where your triggers are coming from. You notice the thoughts that are shaping your reality. Remember the hermetic axiom here: the all is literally mind. Your mind shapes your reality. And when you begin to notice these unconscious patterns and how your thoughts actually shape your reality, then for the first time you have the clarity and the control to choose a different response. Now, this is the foundation of true, real transformation. When Kundalini energy rises and it awakens, healing happens because unresolved trauma isn't just stored within your mind alone, it's actually embedded in your body. It's embedded in your fascia. The fascia, a web-like connective tissue wrapping around your muscles and your organs, holds the memory of emotional and physical stress and trauma. This means that suppressed experiences get frozen there in your fascia, in your body, and this creates tension, pain, and even illness over time. Now, when Kundalini energy begins to flow, it doesn't just circulate, but its intensity, its fire, acts like a current that literally releases these blockages that's stored within your body. This means that the fascia starts to soften. Stuck energy literally rises to the surface and it clears. Now, this is why people feel lighter and they literally seem lighter and more flexible and notice changes in their nervous system, such as less anxiety, less stress, less reactivity, and more groundedness when this energy arises. You are also no longer running on survival mode alone, but operating from your highest spiritual potential. Before you ever attempt to awaken Kundalini energy within another person, then you have to understand this first. And that is that some form of altered state of consciousness is usually necessary, especially in somebody who has no prior experience in energy work. And that is simply because most people are too closed off in their normal waking state. Years of conditioning, rigid thinking, and a fixed sense of self create mental and energetic barriers. Now, in an altered state of consciousness, those barriers often soften, and the person becomes more open and more perceptive to the flow of energy instead of merely resisting this. Now, remember that this isn't something that you should do as just a casual experiment or with a stranger. You're not going to just walk up to some random person and say, "Hey, let me draw your Kundalini up your spine and see what happens." This requires trust, it requires mutual respect, and it requires some form of a relationship that is based upon those things. There absolutely has to be a clear dynamic where you, the person guiding this energy, have experience with your own Kundalini energy in order to know how to hold space for whatever may arise within the other person. Now, if you are not willing to do this, if you don't have experience in doing this, then you risk destabilizing the other person. Then you are not going to be helpful because we are really talking about a powerful energy here that is often misunderstood and should definitely not be considered or approached even as some random plaything. Altered states of consciousness can be accessed in several different ways. Sex and states of deep ecstasy are one route where heightened awareness and intimacy make the energy more accessible. Then there's a different route, often called the right-hand path, which include mantras, rhythmic movement, breathwork, and more traditional methods for quieting the mind and preparing the body for this kind of energy. And of course, for those people who are experienced and ready, other methodologies such as psychedelic experiences and magic mushrooms, used with reverence and clear intention and respect for the plant ally, because it should never just be used recreationally, can open those altered states of consciousness, those hidden doorways within the soul. So I'm a little bit wary of sharing too much information about this subject here on YouTube, because a while ago I posted a video on sacred sexuality and Tantra. Now this video got taken down by YouTube because they deemed it to be unfit for their platform. So I'm going to create a dedicated video for this on my Patreon. Now let's set aside the topic of sacred plant allies for a moment, because the key here really is to create a safe container space where the person's energy is primed to flow and to align with your intention. Your first step is to center yourself and to charge your energy. Before even touching the other person's spine at all, you must learn to center yourself. You must learn to ground your own energy into your root chakra, which is situated at the base of your spine, or alternatively into your sacral chakra if you are more attuned to sensuality and to creativity and flow. Now, there's many different videos on my channel where I talk about the importance of grounding, and this is still something that is often misunderstood or overlooked. And ironically, it's the most important first step that you can possibly take. You need to know how to ground yourself. Now, this knowing should not even require any effort whatsoever. It should be something that is so easy for you to do and to achieve that you can literally access that state in mere seconds. After you've grounded yourself, channel your life force energy down your arms and actually into your fingertips themselves. You'll know that they are charged when you feel heat, tingling, or a subtle pressure on your fingertips. Now, this is crucial because if your own energy isn't flowing properly, then you simply won't be able to guide the energy of another person. Your second step is to make contact with their root chakra. Literally place your energized fingertips gently at the base of their spine, right over the root chakra point. Now pause there and really tune into their energy. You cannot rush this step. A flowing energy system will feel light and receptive, while a blocked energy system will feel dense, stagnant, or resistant. Remember that you are reading their energy system just as much as you are tuning into it and preparing it. Your third step is to wake the energy up. Before we work with energy, we need to activate it. Now, to activate a dormant flow, lightly tap the area at the root chakra point. You could do this 3 times because 3 is really effective. It is symbolic of activation and of flow. Alternatively, you can use your fingertips to make gentle clockwise motions at the root point of their spine. Do this for about 7 rotations because this motion acts like knocking on the door of the root chakra, literally inviting the energy to awaken. Now, when you do this, you might feel subtle vibrations, heat, or even a shift in tension as their energy begins to stir. Your fourth step is to draw it up gradually. When you feel the energy starting to respond, begin tracing a slow upward stroke along the person's spine. Now, do not attempt to pull it all the way up to the crown in one motion. Start small. Trace from the root to the sacral point and repeat this until the flow feels consistent. Only then move from the root point to the solar plexus point. Work progressively here, allowing their system to adjust. With each upward trace along their spine, you are guiding the awakened energy up through their chakra systems, literally like uncoiling a spring 1 turn at a time. Your fifth step is to monitor and to adjust. Stay highly attuned to how this is affecting the other person. If you are highly attuned, you may notice changes in their breathing, in their body tension, or even in their emotional state itself. Now, if the energy feels stuck at a particular level, at a particular chakra point along the spine, then pause there and gently tap or circulate that chakra point where the energy feels stuck or dormant until it releases. It's important never to force the energy to rise upward. You are simply guiding it. You are not dragging it and you are not forcing it. Only move to higher points when the flow feels ready and when the other person's system remains balanced. Your sixth step is to complete the ascent of the energy. Once the flow of energy has built and once it feels stable, then you can guide it all the way to the crown of the head. It's important to trace very slowly and very deliberately here, always in an upward motion along the spine. When you reach the crown, pause there and allow the energy to settle and to integrate into the person's body. Now, this is a highly sensitive stage in the whole process, and overloading the person's system too quickly here can lead to emotional overwhelm or even to physical discomfort. It's always important to err on the side of gentleness here and never force. Now, this is a very advanced technique, and I know that some of you might have questions about it. So if you need me to clarify a couple of things, then please drop them in the comment section below. I'm also currently creating a video for this on my Patreon community where I'll go into much more detail on this subject. So you can always join me there if you need more clarity as well. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and please also share it with somebody that might find this useful. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.